Welcome, reading wizards. Today we are going to discover the magical realm of the FLOSS spelling rule and uncover some of its secrets. Do our readers really need to know this floss?
I'm Dr. Marnie Ginsberg of Reading Simplified, where we streamline reading instruction and accelerate student reading achievement. And I'm here to debunk the growing belief of the more phonics rules, the better. First things first, what is this FLOSS rule of which we speak?
I'm sorry, what's that?
The FLOSS rule is the guideline stating that in one-syllable words, the letters F, L, S, and Z are usually doubled at the end if they follow a short vowel, as in these words, will, grass, hill, and buzz. And if you want your students to know how to apply this rule easily, they also need to deeply understand what a syllable, open syllables, closed syllables, short vowels are, as well as quite frequent exceptions such as us, is, this, has, if, of, was, his, as, yes, until, chef, gas, clef, nil, bus, pus, plus, and dear old Gus. Got it?
You overwhelm me.
Now, with the Reading Simplified method, we have discovered the value in simplicity over complexity.
You just want things to be resolved so you can have simplicity back.
So we generally don't find students need to learn complex phonics terms, rules, or their exceptions, like the FLOSS rule, in order to become good readers. It's true. Most students can learn to read words such as these quite easily in the context of Reading Simplified instruction. Yes, even in kindergarten. Thus, by the time we would expect them to be able to spell these words, they have likely been reading them for over 1 to 2 years. With that much practice reading these short, simple words, most students have likely internalized how to spell them also. If you've been discovering the importance of the science of reading lately, and you know kids need to be explicitly taught phonics, you're right. So you're probably wondering, how can this be that a reading program based on the evidence would tell you to minimize phonics rules? It turns out that in the last 30 years or so, scientists have discovered that we learn to read words less through rule application and more through observation of patterns.
There are patterns in everything.
Once we are explicitly taught how the code works and some grapheme, phoneme, or letter sound correspondences, then a lot of our learning of word parts and words is implicitly gathered. When we read the manual for how to crack the code, so to speak, then our amazing mind statistically computes possible expectations for given spellings and words to help us attack and recognize words with increasing accuracy and speed. We know this through the research on connectionist models of reading, the self-teaching theory, and the simple observation that not one accomplished graduating high schooler was explicitly taught all 20,000 to 40,000 words she recognizes in less than a blink of an eye. The influential cognitive scientist Mark Seidenberg, who wrote Language at the Speed of Sight, has been teaching this concept extensively lately. Recently, he and his colleagues wrote, "Traditional instruction is explicit, as in teaching explicit rules for pronouncing or spelling words. Aside from the lack of agreement about the rules, these mappings are far too complex to be wholly taught this way. Although learners benefit from explicit instruction, most of this knowledge is acquired via implicit learning. Excessive emphasis on explicit instruction may make acquiring this material more difficult." This is great news for us muggles. Learning oodles of phonics and syllable rules is time-consuming and places undue cognitive load for developing readers. Not only do we now know that learning to read ignites through explicit instruction, but mostly runs on implicit learning, a recent study demonstrated the futility of at least one very commonly taught phonics rule. In studying the efficacy of the VCV pattern, Dr. Devin Kearns writes, the data suggests there is really no vowel, consonant, vowel division pattern at all. Hey simplifiers, as I've been debunking the importance of the FLOSS rule, are you liking learning the real science behind reading instruction with a touch of the silly? Then go ahead and tap that like button. Do you know a teacher who would be interested in this too? And if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you won't miss out on more myth-busting content like this. Next up, I'll be asking, where's the evidence for Orton Gillingham as the gold standard?
Time for a spellbinding revelation. Children need the code, and they need it fast.
Giving students strong sound-based decoding skills and phonics information early on in their development is one way that Reading Simplified teachers build readers rapidly. Some methods introduce the FLOSS rule in the first grade. But why wait? We believe empowering our kindergartners with this knowledge much earlier. Indeed, as early as the first weeks of kindergarten, even absolute beginning readers get exposed to two-letter graphemes or two-letter combinations such as TH, SS, and LL in the Reading Simplified system. Bolding in this concept that one sound can be two letters early on is a great way to accelerate student reading. One of our most important activities, Switch It, is a simple way to introduce these easy spelling patterns. When kids get a jump start into real reading like this, and even see the slight complexity of one sound equaling two letters early on, then they're on their way to an early introduction to transitional text.
And now the magical finale. Let's harness the power of efficiency.
As a result of our more rapid access to phonics knowledge, Reading Simplified students enjoy getting into the enchanting world of books earlier. They have more time to practice the invaluable skills of integrating all that phonics knowledge with meaning making of real text reading. Along the way, Reading Simplified teachers listen along to each student read, giving targeted but brief feedback. Nicely done. Okay. Our mantra: less chit chat, more magic. A little nudge or sprinkle of fairy dust, if you will, and voila, the reading potion is perfected.
And there you have it, fellow reading enthusiasts. We've successfully debunked the FLOSS spelling rule and its sorcery. Now, keep those books open and your wands ready.